Hello, everyone. Welcome to lesson 5 of unit 1. So, lesson 5. We have a couple of objectives in lesson 5. Well, more than a couple of objectives. I want you guys to read the poem called The Lake. And I'm only going to read about 4 stanzas of it to you. But let me tell you about the objectives about in this lesson, okay? And what I want you to do with the poem. The poem is what we call a romantic poem. Make sure that you're taking notes, guys, okay? You're listening to this video with the purpose of taking notes. There is no PowerPoint here. Make sure to take lecture notes that will help you in the essay that you might want to write later about the poems or about the short stories. What I want you to do with the lake here is that I want you to realize that the lake is a romantic poem. Romanticism or romantic poems, okay, come from the Romanticist tradition or the Romantic tradition. The Romantic tradition in poetry especially builds a certain connection with some of the aspects of human experience, such as nature, emotions, feelings, time. The romantic poet is connected, and the romantic poem expresses connections between the author or the narrator and the world around them. This is very different from the modernist poems. The modernist poems, such as here in lesson 6, are really poems, or in the modernist traditions, are really poems and a tradition which is detached from the world. It is not connected. Around the 1920s, when the modernist era began in literature, or it began a little earlier than that, but that's when it really began to take hold with The Great Gatsby and T.S. Eliot. There were a couple of developments in science, literature, and psychology. For example, the existence of God was questioned. The existence of purpose was questioned, of meaning in life. Our lack of control over our desires, the material world. There was talk about the causes of the mind, right? We had Freud, we had psychoanalysis, we had psychological developments telling us that we're in very little control of our mind. These had people begin to question themselves and especially their place in the universe. So modernist poems have a kind of anxiety, a kind of looking for purpose, but there's an implied hopelessness. I want you to contrast that with what we see here. I'm going to point to a couple of important stanzas. Now, when you're reading, I want you to look up any unfamiliar words that are here. The use of diction, and we're going to be doing this in one of the activities. I want you to be looking at what the poem says about the narrator's attitude towards life in general, and to what does it say about his connection to nature? What does it say about what the perspective of the narrator or the author is towards the world? How do we see those romantic attitudes, that romantic tone expressed through the poem? I want you to connect this poem to the world around you. And we're going to do that in a mind map activity that I will explain in the video below. I want you to pay attention to the diction, the style of the poem. And I want you later to reflect on how you have understood the use of diction and tone, that romantic attitude. I want you to, when you begin to write in your reflection and in your mind map activity right here, I want you to organize your ideas. I want you to make sure you're writing properly with punctuation and grammar. And I will explain more in deep those activities later. Right now, we're going to go and we're going to make a couple of inferences, and we're going to extend our understanding of the text. We're going to look a little bit about the elements of the style of the poem. So I'm going to click on the poem here, and let's begin to read it together. So we have crossed out here because I don't want you to read that translation of the poem. I want you to read this translation. The first that we see is an exclamation mark. Powerful, right? They're expressing emotions, the first sign of a romantic attitude, but not the only sign. And so, pause, pushed constantly towards new coast, swept away into eternal night. The comma here means that the thought is the same thought. We're in the same thought. This is a list of things. And so, he begins, pushed constantly towards new coasts, swept away into eternal night, with no return. Can we never on the ocean of ages throw down an anchor for a single day? The ocean of ages. What is the ocean of ages? It's the ocean of time. He's talking about time. Time takes us places. Time takes us. We can never return. And the metaphor of time to the ocean is here he's using it so that he can express we can stop our motion in the ocean. We can throw down an anchor. We can stop. If you don't know the meaning of the word anchor, please look it up. It's what you throw off a boat so that your boat stays still in the ocean. We can stop our motion on an ocean, but we cannot stop our motion in time. We cannot throw down an anchor. And so he says, can we never throw down an anchor for a single day? Look at the style here. He doesn't say we can never. He says, can we never? It's a question, right? It's a romantic attitude. It's not a statement. It's a thought. It's a wondering. It's philosophical. Look at the next one. He screams at the lake. Oh, lake. Like, oh, Romeo, oh, lake. There's emotion expressed. And there's emotion expressed towards the lake. Now we know we're talking about a lake. And he's speaking to the lake. He's not speaking to us. He's speaking to the lake. There is a connection that the narrator has with the lake that you will not see in the later poems. O lake, the year has scarcely ended its course, and near the beloved waters she should have seen again. Look, I've come alone to sit on this stone. Look, lake, look at me. I'm here on this stone where you saw her sitting. So we know he's talking to the lake about a girl. He's connected to his past. The narrator is connected to his past. He's connected to the environment around him. There's a meaning there, even though it's sad, even though he is sad that the moment has passed, he knows that there's a meaning where he is. There was a purpose where he stood, even if it has gone, even if the purpose has been satisfied and extinguished. He recalls it and he acknowledges it. There's a nostalgia. He says later on, this is the important part. He screams at time, "Oh, time, suspend your flight, and you, happy hours, suspend your race. Let us savor the fleeting delights of our fairest days." So in essence, he says, time, stop. Just stop. And hours, please just stop going so quickly. Let me enjoy these moments. Let me enjoy the moments that I lived, the ones that are only memories now. I wish I could have just stopped them in time. But it's not just that the narrator wishes. The narrator has a connection with time. He's speaking to time. He's requesting, suspend your flight, even though he knows it's not possible. Now, a modernist poem would be also know it's not possible to suspend time, but the attitude wouldn't be a conversation with time. It would be a resentment that time goes on. He's not resenting time here. There's no regret here. There's just nostalgia. There's just a connection with his memories and a connection with nature. That he experienced one of his moments here on the lake with one of the women that he loved. I think so. I want you to make an inference here. What does this tell us about his attitude in life? What does he tell us about, what does this tell us about what the narrator believes about human experience? Is it beautiful? Is it purposeless? Is it meaningful? He has to think it's meaningful because he thinks that human experience, my experience right here, right now on the lake, is it's so meaningful that time should stop to let me be in it. This is not the attitude we get later on in T.S. Eliot's. In fact, in T.S. Eliot's poem, we get this right here. We get this. He says, do I dare disturb the universe? Well, look at that difference. Do I dare disturb the universe? And look at that difference. The modernist narrator in the first one, do I dare disturb the universe, doesn't know his place here. He thinks that he's not one with the universe. He's disturbing it to make a request. And in the second one, in the romantic poem, he's saying, time, suspend your flight. It's an order. Right? Like there's a purpose to me being here, and you're not letting me enjoy it. And he makes that request because he knows he should enjoy it. It's something that he deserves. It's something that is owed to him because of his emotions and because of the meaning of the occasion that he's remembering. In the first one, Prufrock, the narrator, is separated from time. I want you to read this poem. I want you to read this poem, and as you go through it, take note of these exclamation marks. Look at the style. Look at how he's speaking to not just the universe, the lake, specifically to the lake and the universe in general. Look at how he's speaking. Look at how he speaks about his emotions. He says, let us love. Let us love. But he's not upset at time. He understands. He's just contemplating. But in Prufrock, there's a bit of anxiety, a bit of paranoia, a bit of resentment with time, a bit of, he does not want to acknowledge that time passes. In Prufrock, he does not want to acknowledge. He says there will be time. There will be time, but there will not be time. And here in the romantic poem, we understand that, we get it expressed. So when you read this poem, pay attention to where are these romantic attitudes. What do the words he uses, the diction, even though there's different translations, what does the diction used in this translation right here say about the narrator's attitude? Think about that. Think about the style, the exclamation marks, the way in which words are arranged. Because you will need to explore those in your mind map activity. And when you're reading Prufrock, compare the reading to this one in your mind. Compare it. In your literature circle, I want to see some discussion about that. That's in the next lesson though, okay? For now, go and read the poem, and afterwards, take a look at the video in the next section, which is called the hands-on section. Thank you guys.